Hi guys, so we got the sprint race done. Early laps drama between the Ferrari and the Mercedes again, unlike the last time in Melbourne last week. The sprint race started with Lewis Hamilton, like I said yesterday, will be able to jump up, get track position, but unfortunately, George Russell had a better start also. But Lewis Hamilton was able to push through, and the first three corners were great. Before George knew anything, Lewis Hamilton was up on him. Then we had a lap over lap, and lap relapse. So we had George Russell having to learn how to overtake. It took him like 3 laps to learn how to overtake Lewis Hamilton. Now Lewis Hamilton had won his tires, and that gave his teammate Charles Leclerc an advantage over him. Now what happened? It still shows that Mercedes are having the best engine. The compression, no compression, we heard Mercedes passed. We are hearing by June 8th, everything will be sorted out. So we don't know where we really are on it. But I think also Mercedes have one of the best chassis on the track. This is a chassis and a suspension that is so great on tires. While George Russell was having the squabble with Lewis Hamilton, we saw that they were gentle on their tires, which I think number one thing Ferrari needs to work on the tire balance and the way the car eats through the tires. I think that is a big waddle for them. They need to find a way around it. If they can find a way around that, that would help them in racing. They have a good race car, not a good qualifying car because of the engine, I think, and how they manage their energy. When you look at the energy management system for Mercedes and the Ferrari, the Mercedes looks much more potent even with low energy and much more stronger than the Ferrari. So I think giving more opportunity to harvest more, no matter how full your battery is, on a normal straight you should be able to throw it down on gauntlet all through, but on Ferrari it's not like that. On Mercedes it's so easy, as in they still have more battery juice thrown down than the Ferrari, which I think Ferrari needs to also work on. So Ferrari needs to work on the highs, they need to work on their battery, which is the energy management system, and I think Ferrari also need to work on the chassis, the way it eats into the tires. That is very important. If they can work on that, it helps them to keep the fight and a balance, and also it helps them to take the fight more to Mercedes, so we don't just have overtake lap relap situation, as in we have huge battle all through the track. You're watching the top teams, because normally when you're watching a race you're watching the top guys fighting it out, and that is where you enjoy the racing. But when the top guys are not fighting it out, unlike the last 4 years, and you are having just the rear guys fighting it out, it makes it more hell bent on what is happening. But now we have that fight, but that is not a Formula One, like I've said earlier. To McLaren, McLaren, they have a good car, but the problem is, I think they still don't understand how to maximize their package, and they are still trying to learn how to use the engine. So McLaren are just in the league of their own now. If you are not Mercedes, Ferrari, and you are not the rest of the team of the pack, that is where McLaren are. And I think if they are able to maximize the package, they might get closer to Ferrari, and at that point it might now be Ferrari McLaren. If Ferrari don't really improve themselves, I think that is where they might get to. And the Red Bull, today the Red Bull look worse. Max Verstappen started and lost about 4 or 5 positions. He had to fight back, but unable to get into points. A lot of lockups from him. The car was not just giving him what he wants. And like I said last year, you might get into a season in which some drivers don't like a car, they are not used to the car, and they don't perform. I'm not saying I'm sure that is where Max Verstappen is now, but probably this car does not really suit him, and this chassis, the engine, the way the car is being designed by his team does not suit him, and that might really affect the way he drives. And I think, let me say it again, I think this might really push Max Verstappen out of Formula One if you're not careful, and this is one of the most talented drivers of this age. If this is pushing him out, well, it's going to be hard. But I think Lewis Hamilton endured it while he had his own time. Endured with 3 years with Mercedes, 1 year with Ferrari in that downforce era. So probably I think if he can wait till 2028, the engine rules will change, and that might give him a more enjoyable car when they go back to V10 or V12, and that might be fun for him. But let's see how he's able to push through and get through the season. But that car is not really looking good. Now looking into the qualifying, we get into qualifying, but tomorrow it's going to be the race of strategy. Our tires look like the tire to use, but getting the scrub off might be difficult for the team because that track is highly abrasive, so they need to understand how to do it. Now you can see that we came to China this year, we're not having the bush burning unlike when we had during the downforce era. That brought the difference, but let's see how this works out in qualifying and what the race will bring tomorrow. So the qualifying was another interesting format. The Mercedes were just a class of their own, but we saw the McLaren and the Ferrari improved on their car. I think they've learned a little in the sprint race and the sprint qualifying. They've tried to improve their car. We saw that little improvement worked for them in qualifying. We can see they are now closer to the Mercedes in qualifying. Probably we can see them closer in tomorrow's race, and I think strategy will be the major game changer in tomorrow's race, because if those teams can bring up a strategy that can offset Mercedes, the Mercedes will be in for it. We saw what happened with George Russell's Mercedes today. He had to change the front wing, change the steering for him to get back on track in Q3. He lost a lot of momentum, and by the time he was getting back, he was only able to do one qualifying run, which was unable to beat his time from sprint race yesterday, which means he was unstable. He was under pressure trying to pull out that lap for pole. He came in second. That means there will be pressure on Mercedes probably tomorrow, because it shows they might have some issues down there. It's telling you that the teams might close in. Coming Japan, you might see some teams might have closed up. Maybe the Red Bull would be somewhere there because they are still 1 second off, and 1 second in Formula 1 you can buy it. In a 56 lap race you cannot just buy it. It's going to be an awakening, a rude awakening for them tomorrow. The Melbourne race was not really an awakening for them. If this race go on without too much yellow flags or restarts, then it's going to be a rude awakening for Red Bull tomorrow if they are in the race, because they might be lapped. They might even be gotten off by their sister team, the Racing Bull. So it's not going to be a very easy one for them. They need to find a way around how to deal with the car they are having now. Anyway, in the Q1, we have the Williams out again, the Cadillac out, and the Aston Martin out. The 3 teams, 6 cars were out. In the order of Sainz, Albon, Alonso, Bottas was able to get Stroll. Cadillac out qualifying one of the Aston Martin, then Stroll and Perez. And that looks like a Cadillac that has just started and an Aston Martin team that has just started. So they are swinging battles. It's going to be a long season for both teams. Knowing that Cadillac just came in, is their first year, they will grind, they would get better. But for Aston Martin, we know their problems is in-house. They will get through it. But for Williams, I don't know. I think it's a rude awakening for Williams to have a car like this, because 2026 was meant to be their year of moving forward. I don't know the church they go to, the plot they have for their year of moving forward. This 2026 it's been a year of looking up for them. For Alpine, it's just like the best move for them to move to Mercedes. Pierre Gasly has been on fire with that Mercedes engine. Colapinto, we saw him yesterday. Coming today, he has improved, and I think for Alpine, is a good win for them. And I think, if Toto Wolff is trying to buy into Alpine and trying to shut Honor out totally from F1, this is a proven banger for him to stick Alpine, that Renault team, into totally using a Mercedes engine for the rest of F1. That's it. And I think that's one of the things they'll be looking for. So you might be looking into getting a consortium to do the job for him. Toto Wolff can shut out Chris Horner out of F1. For now, that is Chris Horner's only way back into F1. He has the money. They've paid him a severance fee. Instead of him splashing his money to eat pepper soup, to go and drink beer, go and enjoy, I don't want to say much. So he can quickly invest it, and he wants to invest in F1. He's looking at Alpine. This is his only way back. So the only person that can shut him out now is Toto Wolff, and presently they are enjoying the engine. So I don't know how they will deal with that, but it's looking very interesting. So in Q2, Hulkenberg, he qualified 11th. Colapinto, Ocon, Lawson, Lindblad, and Bortoleto. Bortoleto shunted on the last turning, and he was into the barriers, and that took him into the pit. He was unable to get or set some good times. And for the pole setter, Kimi Antonelli, great qualifying for him. So another front row Mercedes, a second row Ferrari, and third row McLaren. Now listen, front row Mercedes, second row Ferrari, third row McLaren. Then we have Gasly, Verstappen, Aja. Gasly, Verstappen, Aja, Oliver Biermann. It's going to be very interesting tomorrow. It's going to be very tasty, because Oliver Biermann would want to pull some stunts on the 2 Red Bulls. Remember, Verstappen had a bad start today. Oliver Biermann had a tussle with Gasly. It's going to be a long one tomorrow. Very interesting one. You don't want to miss it. Catch all our analyses, and we love you. Bye.